SmackDown was boring tonight. We are live, man. I'm not even sure if people realize SmackDown was on tonight, being that they weren't on Fox. FS1 was the home of SmackDown tonight. TLC 2020 is Sunday night. Tonight was the go-home show for that pay-per-view Sunday. Bayley versus Bianca Belair was the biggest thing that happened tonight. And it left a lot of people disappointed, and rightfully so. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens continued their build into TLC. The Street Profits defend the tag team titles against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And Carmella still can't dance. I will also have your TLC predictions tonight, wrapped up into one big show tonight, man. This is the SmackDown post show, and you're hearing Pilot right here on the only podcast that matters in the IWC. This is your SmackDown post show right here on Off the Script.
From me to you, go fuck yourself.
Delete! This is mine.
Has it right, man. Brock Lesnar has it right, man. I found that clip floating around on my Twitter, man. I had to use it for something, and tonight was just perfect for me to use it. So, from me to you, man, Brock Lesnar sends my condolences to each and every one of you that's got to watch this show tonight. I don't want to be here any more than I have to. I think it's pretty safe to say that the current WWE product is complete garbage. I think after what we've seen on Monday and with the reports coming out on Tuesday rather, coming out of Monday Night Raw, that not only is WWE feeling the heat from the terrible ratings, but I honestly think Fox has their eye on what's going on as well. They have to. Apparently, Vince McMahon now gets it. Bruce Pritchard now gets it. WWE management now gets it. They realize that changes need to be made. What those changes are, we don't know. When those changes come, we don't know. Apparently, USA Network is also very, quote-unquote, furious about the ratings coming out of Monday Night Raw. I don't know what took them so long to be furious, but that was in the report. That was coming directly from Alex McCarthy of TalkSport. It took them all this time to finally be furious about what's going on. I think we've all been furious for years. I think USA Network and the executives over at USA Network are late to the fucking party. I don't have any answers onto what WWE needs to do as far as fixing the product. I can only give my expert criticism being a fan for over 30 years. I don't want to dive too deep into what I talked about on the podcast tomorrow, but just to give you guys a glimpse as to what I discussed on tomorrow's show that I have not even edited yet. It's already recorded, but I haven't edited it yet. It's not up on YouTube yet. You guys will see that tomorrow at 5 p.m. It's nothing groundbreaking at all. There really isn't anything that I said in tomorrow's show that's groundbreaking. It's easy for me to sit here and blame Vince McMahon. It's easy for me to sit here and blame Bruce Pritchard. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, oh, Michael Cole needs to be removed, or WWE needs to, unpretty the show a little bit because it's overproduced and it's just disingenuous, or whatever the case may be. These are arguments that have been made for years. The one thing that needs to change as far as the overall WWE product is booking for the future, building stars, moving Monday Night Raw back to 2 hours. And the biggest thing that WWE needs to do is end the brand split. I have been an advocate for the brand split for so long. I tried. I've given my criticisms. I've given my complaints. I've given my concerns about how WWE should do this, how WWE should do that, how to make this championship prestigious, what to do with this performer, what to do with this brand, what to do with this brand warfare bullshit going into the Survivor Series. I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it. It has drained me so much that I just don't care anymore. If they don't care, why should we care? The biggest thing WWE can do, if they want to really initiate change, is for Vince McMahon to come out on the last episode of Monday Night Raw, being that Raw is the problem. Come out on Monday Night Raw, the last episode of the year, and pretty much state to everybody, I'm wiping the slate clean. I'm wiping it all clean. I really am. Everything is going back to the basics. No brand split, no separate rosters, no network warfare between Fox and USA Network. It's all gone. One world champion, one set of tag team champions, one set of women's champion. That's it. That's it. Every single man and woman on both Raw and SmackDown now merged. That way we get somewhat of a tag team division. That means we get a full women's division. That means we get top contenders for the WWE Championship. That means we get top contenders for the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship. Why do we need two sets of championships? I don't know. Why do we need two world championships? Why do we need two mid-card championships? Why do we need two sets of tag team championships? I've said this for years. Maybe institute a ranking system. Give me a top 10 for the WWE Championship. Give me a top 5 for the Intercontinental Championship. Give me a top 5 for the Tag Team Championship, so on and so forth for the women. Make everything flow nice and seamlessly through Monday into Friday. Don't overexpose certain stars. Not everybody has to be featured on every show. Write adult-like storylines that are full and that are worth our time to invest. Things that make sense. Follow consistency through Raw and SmackDown on a week-to-week basis. Common sense. Don't leave logic gaps everywhere. Have someone proofread this shit. These shows, in my eyes, they don't do anything to generate any interest anymore. I watched Raw half asleep. I had 2 mugs of coffee tonight. They did nothing. Not only was the show on FS1, I don't even realize if people realize SmackDown was on. It's not even worth me tweeting anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. There's genuinely nothing as far as excitement goes in the air for WWE. It genuinely makes me sad how such a great company has fallen by the wayside because of a demented old man and his power-hungry fucking right-hand nut hugger, Bruce Pritchard. How these two fucking old fucks have ruined what we once loved and enjoyed, all for the sake of what? Their fucking ego. Their ego. Things need to change going into 2021. I don't know what those changes are. I really don't. I don't know what those changes are. The entire landscape of WWE just doesn't feel the same. I'm not even talking about just Raw and SmackDown. NXT doesn't even feel the same. It's easy for me to blame everybody under the sun who's in charge of these shows. It's easy for me to blame the pandemic. Those are the easy way outs. Those are the easy, simple, fucking cretin-like explanations. Oh, why is WWE so bad? Oh, COVID-19. Oh, why is WWE so bad? Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard. Creative sucks. What about it? What are you going to do to fix it? How are we going to fix it? And the funny thing is, Vince McMahon is ushering in changes. What those changes are, like I said, I don't know. But I don't understand how anybody could watch or listen to that man or the family or anybody in power and believe that there's changes coming. We've been through this. I don't take anything that family says seriously. It's a fucking joke. They say what they want to say to elicit a positive reaction and get people excited for absolutely no reason. They themselves don't even know what the fuck they need to do. The shows just seem boring, man. We got a pay-per-view on Sunday night, and there's nothing exciting about this pay-per-view. It's easy for me, again, to say that Roman Reigns is the best part of the show, because he is. He is. But what are you doing to build around Roman Reigns? You got Roman Reigns up here, and everybody else is not even in the same fucking building. Really. What happened tonight on SmackDown? Tag team titles were on the line. Who cares? The tag team division is irrelevant. It is non-existent. How can I care about the tag team titles when there legitimately is only two teams in the entire division? Sami Zayn gave out awards that looked like they were soup cans with fucking toy figures spray painted in gold. Called them the Sami Awards instead of the Slammy Awards. Carmella drank shitty champagne and said she's going to take the SmackDown Women's title off of Sasha Banks while highlighting that Sasha Banks is a choke artist. So pretty much she's saying she is the Atlanta Braves of the 90s. Good on you, Carmella. Bayley versus Bianca Belair. This left people somewhat agitated tonight. We'll go over why. And you have every reason to be. But I wouldn't be too concerned about this whatsoever. We're going to look at it from all different angles tonight, so don't be worried about Bianca Belair. And then I got your SmackDown news and rumors, and I got your TLC predictions right here on the show, man. So thank you guys so much for spending your Friday night with me. I'm sure most of you are playing CyberPunk, or most of you are on Rebirth Island in Warzone. I don't know where you are, but clearly by the people watching this show, only 1,100 of you ain't watching SmackDown tonight. You are not watching SmackDown tonight, and I do not blame you at all. Quick announcement for everybody, man. I just got some really, really kind messages from some of my Patreons. The mugs, the exclusive JD mugs, have all been shipped out to those that have opted to get the mug. Christmas cards were sent out. Cookies, off the script, cookies, exclusive cookies, yes. Mrs. Claus baked me some fucking cookies to give everybody, man. Plus, you guys are going to get other perks throughout the year, plus the t-shirt. The shipments have been sent out for shipment 1. So anybody that signed up, you should be getting them immediately. And I want to thank everybody that signed up for not only Tier 1, but more importantly, Tier 2. And I want to thank everybody that's been an exclusive VIP Patreon for as long as you have, man. If you guys want to sign up, you're going to get some great shit. It's an unbelievable way to support the show, man. Everything that you guys give back to me, I put right back into the show. So if you guys want to support, patreon.com, you got to sign up annually. That means full 12-month commitment. And you get one of those engraved baseball mugs right there. And you're going to get an exclusive Are We Live t-shirt. So sign up at patreon.com/JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. It's a big weekend, man. I want to celebrate and close the year out strong. We are at 120,000 subscribers on the doorstep of 120,000 subscribers. If we can get there, if we could get close to there after tonight's show, I'd be happy. But we got TLC on Sunday, and I'm more than confident that we will hit it before we get into Monday Night Raw on Monday. So make sure you guys go and hit that subscribe button if you have not done so. It's an unbelievable analytic that I look at because I got all the numbers. I look at all the numbers. How many people are actually not subscribed to the channel, yet watch it anyway? I don't really know what's the holdup, but if you guys aren't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you do. Because we are here live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every pay-per-view that follows. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell so you're notified of everything, and then hit that thumbs up because the thumbs up helps out the channel immensely, man. So please hit that thumbs up as well. Super chats are open. If you guys want to get the super chats on in, we'll hang out at the end of the show like we usually do. Go get your masks. Mouthmasker.com/OTS. The black off the script face covering is in stock this holiday season. Bonfire.com for your t-shirts. Go get your exclusive t-shirts only available on bonfire.com. Make sure you guys go and check out all the videos that you might have missed on the channel. Off the Script, episode 356 is coming tomorrow at 5 p.m. It's another good one. Believe me, especially the second half of the podcast. And then, as always, I got to shout them out because they're sponsoring the show, man. BlueChew.com is tonight's sponsor for the SmackDown post show right here on Off the Script. Don't let Bruce Pritchard's shitty creative turn you blue, man. Don't let him give you blue balls. Go and get some Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. You guys are going to use code JD at checkout for your free, absolutely free sample. All you guys have to do is pay the shipping and handling. Let's start with some minor news and rumors here for SmackDown, man. We got some news and rumors coming out of the Blue brand. WWE's lack of creative direction has created an unusual trend on Monday night and Friday night. Now, WWE plans out a pay-per-view every month. There's no guarantee that all of the matches that you think will happen on the show will actually happen on the show. Some are actually held off and are saved for television shows on Friday and on Monday. That trend doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Especially with WWE still in this pandemic era, I really appreciate the fact that these shows on Sunday, the pay-per-view shows on Sunday, don't really go past 3 hours. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's easy for me, it's easy for you, it's just an easier viewing habit. This week on SmackDown, WWE had the Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Now, the match was originally slated for TLC, but they are holding it early, which they did it tonight. Ringside News exclusively reported that that would be the case before SmackDown aired tonight on FS1. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer spoke about WWE's ideologies here, their mentality to hold pay-per-view matches early on free television. It's not by design at all. Instead, the reason lies in the fact that WWE doesn't have anything else planned that they can offer anybody on TV. He says, and I quote, "It's like whenever I talk to somebody about doing this match for the pay-per-view, they tell me, and they're like, well, it's listed for the pay-per-view, but that's going to happen half the time. Like that Street Profits match with Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They're going to come to TV, and then they're going to go, what do we got on TV this week? Well, we could put this one on because they've got no ideas for TV." End quote. WWE's creative decisions have taken a beating all year from fans like me and from fans like you, and the company doesn't seem likely to change their tactics. I think after Monday, and I think after the 1.5 rating, which was the lowest in Monday Night Raw history, I think changes are going to come whether WWE likes them or not. WWE's not changing anything because they want to be better. They're changing shit, and they're going to be forced to change shit in the way that they do things because nobody gives a shit. If they wanted to change, they would have changed already for the better. Now they're changing because they're forced to change because of their failures, their own creative failures. I've talked about the leadership backstage. Ringside News has exclusively reported about the leadership backstage. Vince McMahon surrounds himself with people like Bruce Pritchard who continuously will tell him exactly what he wants because Bruce is only worried about himself. He's worried about his paycheck. He's worried about his job security. And he doesn't give a shit about the show. And he doesn't give a shit about the talent he's booking on the show. He looks at them as just another face and another means to a paycheck. So he will say, yes, 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 yes to Vince McMahon, even though Vince McMahon might change his mind on something. Bruce will always be there to say yes, and that in turn will more than likely prompt Vince McMahon to not change his mind. We discussed that as well on tomorrow's show. So, I read this and I say, how much worse and how much more lazier can WWE creative get? They got matches in the back of their mind, and then instead of doing them on the pay-per-view and really making a big deal out of it, they'll just put it on TV. But I honestly think they don't do this purposely. They do it with intent. Pay-per-views don't sell anything for WWE anymore. They're not in the pay-per-view business like they were when pay-per-views were $59.99 or $49.99, whatever the fucking price of the pay-per-view was. They're all about the ratings now. But the thing is, nobody's watching the show because nobody cares about the talent that you're booking on the show anyway. So no matter if you book a United States title match, an Intercontinental title match, you hold this match off pay-per-view like a Bayley versus Bianca, that is absolutely a pay-per-view match. You do it on fucking TV instead and give them half the time. WWE has not really built up these individuals to be stars for people to actually want to sit down and watch on a Monday and a Friday night. So it's a moot point. It defeats the fucking purpose. Not only are you lazy, but you're showing exactly how nobody is over. Nobody's a superstar that is going to engage people to watch. So what exactly are you doing? What exactly are you doing in the end? Everybody looks bad because of this situation. Moving on. Got a news and note on Goldberg, being that my boy Ticket Drew said people were complaining about Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. You should all be worried about who is, quote unquote, next. Hopefully it happens at the Rumble and not at WrestleMania. God forbid. We talked about this last week. We talked about how the match should not be at WrestleMania and why Goldberg, if coming back against Roman, should be at the Royal Rumble. Goldberg was interviewed all over the place because they're gearing up. WWE is getting ready for Goldberg to come back to TV because Goldberg, is a ratings draw. Goldberg is a ratings draw, folks. Said nobody ever. If you truly believe Goldberg is a ratings draw, you're a complete fucking buffoon. Goldberg says fans aren't as respectful as they used to be. Oh, really? They aren't as respectful as they used to be. Let's turn that around from fan to performer. Performers, listen, I'm not even going to say in most cases. In some cases, because not everybody's a fucking asshole. Let's turn this around and put the shoe on the other's foot. Fans may be disrespectful, but I don't think I've ever seen in any day and age pro wrestlers act like the biggest fucking pussies, the biggest, let me rephrase that, the biggest entitled pussies and fairies ever. Most pro wrestlers think who they are because they work in a business that is pro wrestling, that they are an upper echelon type of performer and they are entitled to this, and they can say this, and they can treat fans like they do, and they can go on social media and be nasty bitches. So Goldberg says fans aren't as respectful as they used to be, but I'm pretty sure it goes the other way as well for the pro wrestler. Pro wrestlers aren't as respectful as they used to be as well. But in Goldberg's case, he spoke to Bleacher Report. He mentioned pro wrestling fans and how they changed. They can turn the momentum of a show with their reaction instead of just being a part of the experience. That is something Goldberg didn't see in the good old days when fans were content and just sitting back because they wanted to be entertained. He says, and I quote, "They're not nearly as respectful as they used to be. I think it's more about how they can turn the momentum of a show as opposed to actually being a part of it. They actually want to dictate more. So they were content sitting back and being entertained as opposed to dictating what's going on. I'm a business guy. I'm a company guy. But I would be remiss in saying I didn't want to tangle with Randy Orton again. Hands down, he's one of the best in the business. His professionalism, his character development, his in-ring work, his promos, his everything. I'm a huge fan. I have been for a very long time. It's been in his blood and family for God knows how long, and he's at the top of the food chain as far as I'm concerned. I would love to tangle with Randy Orton. I'd love to get into the ring with Drew McIntyre. I'd love to get in the ring with Keith Lee. There's a lot of people that are still attractive out there." End quote. That was what he reiterated to Bleacher Report. Yes, fans can definitely turn the momentum of a show as opposed to actually being a part of it. Great. We pay our money. As long as I'm respectful towards the talent, I have any given right to boo and cheer however I please. Or anybody has the given right to boo and cheer as they please if they pay and go to the show. You can do whatever the fuck you want. That doesn't mean jump the barricade. That doesn't mean sexually harass the women on the show. That doesn't mean be a complete fucking asshole. That doesn't mean do any of those things. You're a human being with morals, right? A normal human being would think this. Go to the show, boo and cheer who you want. I love those types of crowds. I really do. When the momentum shifts and you just feel it in the air, that WWE is giving you something that you don't like, and the majority of the people there know that it's a forced agenda, and they shit all over it. I love it. I love it. You don't see much of that now anyway because WWE is manipulating everything with their fucking soundboard, with their fake virtual geek audience. But fans, yes, they were more content back then. Yes, they just rather sit back wanting to be entertained. You know, they had their dirt sheets and they had their forums. They had their hotlines, right? Bitching and complaining about pro wrestling creative has been going on forever. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. This has been going on for decades. Decades. Everybody always says, oh, if Twitter was around in the 90s, what would fans be complaining about? I'm sure they would be complaining about a lot. Because there was a lot of fucking bullshit that happened on Raw and a lot of bullshit that happened on Nitro. I'm sure of it. We just didn't have Twitter back then to rant and complain. That's why you had wrestling forums, the WrestleZone forums or whatever, right? You had the fucking hotlines to go get your news. But the fans nowadays, and this is not for everybody, fans nowadays, they want instant gratification. They have the IQ of a fucking box of rocks, and they have the patience of a fucking 3-year-old. That's what happens. They want instant gratification. They do not appreciate the art of long-term storytelling. Right. Good long-term storytelling. That's why you don't really see on the main roster somebody hold the WWE Championship for 2 years. People get bored. By month 4, people are already calling for said babyface that they wanted to be in that role for how many months? They want him to drop the title because he's boring now. How soon did Drew McIntyre get the label of boring after he won the WWE title from Brock Lesnar? Pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. It happened to Kofi Kingston. It happened to Roman Reigns. It happens to everybody. They got the patience of a fucking toddler. They want a new toy to play with. Instantly. Instant gratification. But we are also, in the same breath, we are also smarter as a fan. Most of us. There are some blatantly fucking stupid people out there that I don't even know how they're allowed to type on a keyboard to the general populace on social media. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. There's a difference between what I do and what I say and the fucking geek who's got a Bray Wyatt avatar. You don't know what the fuck he looks like. For all we know, he could be a fucking creature from another fucking planet. Pimples all over his face. He could have 3 dicks. He could go to fucking high school and be some fucking geek. Sits alone by himself at the lunchroom table. His mom packs him a perfectly cut sandwich, triangular, peanut butter and jelly. Cuts his fruit for him. Gives him a nice little fruit snack and a little icy, sippy juice box. He'll sit front row in class. Hey, teacher. Hey, me. Over here. I know the answer. Every single time. Could be one of them fucking geeks. We don't know. No social life, no friends, no girl will look at him. Well, maybe with the 3 dicks they'll look at him. I don't know. Maybe they want more than 1 dick. Who the fuck knows? Seriously. Maybe they like to swing multiple ways. I don't know. But that's the type of guy. We don't know what they look like. These Sasha Banks fan avatars, these fucking creepers who go out willingly and find Sonya Deville's address and Lacey Evans' address and fucking Jordan Grace's address and send them fan mail. Hi, I'm a big fan. Can you sign my autograph for me? I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Can you imagine doing that? Can you imagine doing that to somebody? It's awful. Those are the people that exist on social media. But I will say this, a small populace of us, and we get shit on for it, we are smart. We've grown up. We're not prone to WWE's bullshit. We know what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, who needs to be pushed, who not needs to be pushed, who needs to go, how things are supposed to be done. We are a smarter fan base nowadays. And you know why? Because everybody thinks Goldberg sucks. Sucks! Nobody wants Goldberg. Goldberg says fans aren't as respectful as they used to be. Well, Bill, let me tell you something. Maybe you shouldn't be in the fucking business anymore. You've seen your day, man. As soon as that jackhammer hit Hulk Hogan, bro, you hit your all-time high. As soon as 40,000 people in the fucking Georgia Dome or the wherever, Atlanta, wherever the fuck that Nitro was emanating from, 40,000 people jumped to their feet when you won the world title. That was it. After that, you could have left the fucking business. Now you're back taking spotlight away from God knows who. You already killed Bray Wyatt to a point where you'll never find him recovered at all. Now you want to be in the ring with Roman. Nobody wants that. Then you want to name Randy Orton, Keith Lee, and Drew McIntyre. Bro, listen, you've had your fucking wrestler deaths on the resume. Bray Wyatt's enough. We don't need to add Keith Lee or Drew McIntyre to that fucking list. Give me a break. So when Goldberg says fans aren't as respectful as they used to be, maybe they have a fucking point. They don't want Bill in the business anymore for all the right reasons. Meanwhile, Bill wants to be in the business for all the wrong reasons. That's just my take on that. Let's check the chat, man. I'm gearing up here. Usually when I do these shows, man, I come on here and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be on here. But then I get my engine going, you know? I get my engine going, I get my blood boiling, and then we have a good show. But I want to thank everybody for joining me here on the podcast, man. We got 1,300 people in the chat. Super chats are open, so get them on in. And remember, guys, hit that like button. Hit that like button. We are at 360 likes right now. Let's try. I'll give you guys an easy goal tonight. 600. 600 before we get on out of here, man. And I will be a happy guy. Listen here. Let me check the chat. There's a couple of assholes in the chat. Unbelievable, man. It's amazing how people just go out of their way. It's amazing how people go out of their way to troll. I don't get you. I don't get you guys, man. But thank you for watching me, no matter what. Thank you for watching me for no reason at all. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, guys, let's hit the show. SmackDown opened up. Kevin Owens made his way to the ring. His theme music was playing. He walked past tables and ladders and chairs because WWE wants to put it in your brain that there's a pay-per-view, so they need to set up SmackDown with tables all over the place and ladders all over the place and chairs all over the place. Because the way that this show has been going, you might not even realize there's a fucking pay-per-view on Sunday night. Owens said he had a talk with his family over the past week and he instructed them to not watch their match on Sunday. He said it's not because he expects Roman to beat him up, but rather he fears what his family will think of what he does to Roman in the ring on Sunday. Owens said if Roman's kids judge him by his actions of the last few weeks, they'll see their dad is nothing but a hypocrite. He said it's pathetic he uses his family members as pawns. He also said he knows that Reigns knows he is a coward. Paul Heyman was shown on the big screen telling someone off camera to put him on the big screen. He said that he made a mistake about Owens. He said last week on Talking Smack, he characterized Owens as I don't know exactly what he said, a masochist, I believe he called him. He said Reigns is a sadist. He said his mistake is that Owens isn't a masochist, but rather he's a martyr. He said he's willing to pay any sacrifice for the cause of being the Universal Champion. That makes you a very dangerous competitor, and that means mutilation won't stop you, Kevin. So you need to be eliminated. Owens told him none of these things will happen, and he's heard enough of his bullshit. He said if Reigns won't come out here to meet him, then he's going backstage to look for Roman Reigns. Adam Pearce was then backstage as Owens left the ring. He walked backstage. Adam Pearce, the unofficial Raw GM, right? The unofficial SmackDown GM, Adam Pearce. They won't tell you that, but that's exactly what he is. He was pleading with Owens backstage to wait till Sunday. Please, Kevin, the pay-per-view's on Sunday. Owens tried to barge into Reigns' locker room. The door was locked. So Roman Reigns, I legitimately laughed out loud during this. Reigns walked out to the ring. So he left. They must have walked past each other without knowing that they walked past each other. Reigns' music hits. He walks out to the ring. He shows up in the ring on his own time. So Graves said that, as usual, Reigns and Heyman are a step ahead of the rest. Owens then stood in the back, listened to Adam Pearce, and watched Roman Reigns on the monitor. So Heyman handed the mic to Roman Reigns. Graves then says there isn't a man walking the earth right now who can take down Roman Reigns. Corey Graves nailed it with that one comment. I wrote it down because I loved it. There's nobody right now on earth in this business that is doing what Roman Reigns is doing. Reigns says he doesn't want to hurt Owens or his family. He says he's telling everyone he's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy. I'm just doing the things that you have to do to be the guy. He told Owens he can't understand that, and that's fine, but he should stay in his lane. He said he wants to show him he's a good guy. He told him he will give him the same chance he gave to his flesh and blood, acknowledge him as his tribal chief and the head of your family table. Reigns says if he can't, he will end him. He says he won't make it to TLC on Sunday or even make it to the end of the night. Tell me the words I want to hear. Acknowledge me, says Roman Reigns. So Owens made his way towards the ring. His theme music didn't go off again, by the way. He just walked out there, which it was a pleasant surprise, because normally WWE would cue his theme music and then out comes Roman Reigns because he's angry. He's angry at what Roman Reigns said about him. Jey Uso then attacks from behind with force, knocking Kevin Owens down to the mat. Reigns then jumps out of the ring, joins in on the beatdown. This was an absolute mugging. The beating continued until Pat Buck, Jamie Noble, Adam Pearce, referees, other officials were there to pull everybody apart from this opening segment. Good sell for the pay-per-view match. Really good sell. They're trying to make it a very interesting scenario. They're trying to make it seem like Owens has a chance. No matter what happens here, folks, no matter what happens on SmackDown, no matter what happens during the build, no matter what is said during the build, Roman Reigns is not losing this championship. They could do everything that they have to do to get Kevin Owens over. And Kevin Owens believable in the eyes of the fans. There should be absolutely not a human soul on this planet that believes Kevin Owens is going to take the title from Roman Reigns. None. They even had Kevin Owens. I don't even know who he was interviewed by, but Kevin Owens said he would love to be the Universal Champion again, and he would love to have another match with Goldberg, which I found to be a very bizarre and odd coincidence that he mentioned Universal title, the championship that he's fighting for on Sunday night, and then mentioned Goldberg, who's in the mouths of everybody because he's rumored to come back to the WWE for his one payday. I find it odd that those two situations were in the same promo, or the same interview, rather, by Kevin Owens. They want you to think that it's going to happen. It's not. It's good. It's been the best thing on SmackDown, but that goes to show you how over Roman Reigns is in this role. The one thing that we need to talk about here is not the build, is not Roman Reigns, is not the Universal Championship. Nothing along those lines matter because we all know Roman Reigns is going to win on Sunday. The one thing that we need is for Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard to sit down and realize that Kevin Owens just isn't another body on the show. Bruce and Vince need to realize that Kevin Owens is underutilized. They need to realize that no matter what the guy is, a babyface or a heel, that Kevin Owens is a guy that has potential. I'm not saying that he has to be, has potential to be either the biggest heel or the biggest babyface given the role on said brand. They need to start opening their eyes and giving this guy more to do, more important shit to do, and give this guy more opportunities because the lack of Kevin Owens this year on SmackDown in a priority role has hurt Kevin Owens. He's turned into nothing more than a glorified talk show host, and that's all they see him as. They don't value him at all. And the only reason why he's gotten this match with Roman Reigns is because there is nobody else. There's nobody else for Roman Reigns to defend this title against at this F-level pay-per-view. Can't do Daniel Bryan. That's a big money match. So Kevin Owens is getting a championship match because he's being slotted into this predictable role because he's just a good guy for Roman to feast on before we move Roman on to WrestleMania. Kevin Owens deserves better than that. He's showing you why with the build for this match. But it's not going to end up being Kevin Owens winning the Universal Championship. It's always going to be Roman. Roman may hold that title for the rest of 2021. There's nobody on this brand that's going to be able to take him down. Nobody. Kevin Owens deserves better. If there's one thing that comes out of these segments tonight with Owens and Reigns, Kevin Owens deserves better. Jey Uso told Roman Reigns that Owens got the message and understands now. Reigns disagreed and said, no, he doesn't understand. I know his kind. He's not going to listen. He's not going to stop. He then instructed Jey Uso to take him out because he doesn't want to see him anymore. I don't know if he meant he doesn't want to see Jey Uso anymore or if he doesn't want to see Kevin Owens anymore. But Roman Reigns, being that he is a prick, he probably meant both of them. So Jey Uso did what he felt was right, and he took out Kevin Owens and ruined Kevin Owens' chances just a little bit more on Sunday night. The Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. This is a SmackDown Tag Team title match. I don't have any interest in anything these two teams are doing. Quite frankly, I have no interest in tag team wrestling on the main roster, especially on SmackDown, being that there are no teams outside these two teams, just like there are no teams outside the Hurt Business and the New Day on Monday Night Raw. My question is, being that WWE needs to feature the tag team titles, and they need to feature the Street Profits because they are the champions, WWE booked this match in a way that they could squeeze just a couple more weeks out of this situation because they have nothing else. They at least want to get you through the rest of the year before they slap together another fucking makeshift tag team and have them challenge the Street Profits at the Royal Rumble. This was a basic match. Watching this match tonight made me happy that it actually wasn't on the pay-per-view and we got through it on this show tonight. So Montez Ford was getting beat down by the heels. They were getting heel heat. I don't know how anybody getting any heel heat with there's no fucking crowd. But Montez Ford was being beat down by the heels. Ford eventually hot tagged Angelo Dawkins. The heels took over on Dawkins after a small flurry of offense by Angelo Dawkins. Ziggler hit a zigzag for a near fall. It was a zigzag that got a near fall. He then went for a super kick, but Dawkins blocked it. Dawkins then gave Ziggler a sidewalk slam. Ford tagged back in, went for the frog splash. Ziggler apparently lifted the knees on the frog splash. I didn't see Ziggler lift the knees at all. In fact, Montez Ford just landed wrong off the frog splash. He didn't nail it flush like he should have. And he accidentally landed in the lower extremities or on the lower extremities of Dolph Ziggler, and they played it off because it was a slight botch. That's exactly what happened there. If you guys watch the show, that's what I seen from my vantage point. So Ford made the cover anyway, slow to make the cover. Corey Graves sold it very well. Ford went to make the cover, but Bobby Roode broke it up. Roode went for a pin on Ford, but Roode yanked the tights. Then Montez Ford powered out, rolled up Roode in counter, and yanked on his tights, held the tights, and the babyfaces cheated to win by Montez Ford hooking the tights on Bobby Roode as the referee counted 1, 2, 3. They complained to Charles Robinson, who was the referee. They cornered him, and Charles Robinson cut a better promo on both of these guys, on Roode and Ziggler, than most of the fucking active roster does. So he told them if they don't back up, I'm going to see that both of you guys are suspended. He said if they don't, they will get suspended. Roode and Ziggler backed away. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they are going to go complain to Adam Pearce about this situation because they felt like they were robbed. But they tried it to cheat. And then the heels, they got that tactic used against them. Montez Ford, the babyface, used that same heel tactic against them and won. I don't know who cares about this. I really don't. In fact, I'm not even surprised that they didn't even do a clean finish here. It was a clean finish, but it wasn't a clean finish. More than likely, I would not be shocked if we see this match happen on the pre-show on Sunday night. just to get a rematch, just to get it out of the way, just to finish it. There's no reason why the Profits need to lose those tag team titles. None at all, especially to Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I don't even know who's next as far as a tag team challenger for the Street Profits. The tag team division is so garbage right now that I genuinely am just sick and tired of complaining about how to fix it, and WWE does nothing to fix it. This is why I said, if there's one thing that we need to change how to fix Monday Night Raw, it's end the brand split and everything about it. One team, two teams on SmackDown, one team, two teams on Raw. Still, it wouldn't be a full division if you merge the divisions, but at least it's better than what we got now. You can't even call them a division right now. Street Profits win. My question is, what happens after this is over? My question is, how can anybody possibly care about what's going on between these two teams? You can't. Backstage, Adam Pearce continued to plead with Kevin Owens. He wanted Owens to wait till Sunday to settle everything. Uso came from behind and hit him with a steel chair. So Kevin Owens is being used as an Uso punching bag throughout SmackDown. Kayla Braxton interviewed Bianca Belair backstage. She smiled and talked about Bayley later on. Belair said Bayley isn't a role model. She said she always wanted to face Bayley because she is her measuring stick. Belair said Bayley always has something to say. Tonight, I'm going to do what I always do, and that is be the EST of WWE. And she said the EST is going to SHINE, shine. We got the Riott Squad. Remember them? Where are they? Where are they on WWE television? What are they doing? Do they have any plans? Could we see them actually at the pay-per-view fill in for Asuka and said mystery tag team partner? We got the Riott Squad. Backstage, Liv Morgan was talking about famous women she would like to meet, including Wonder Woman. She told Riott she wants to meet the real Wonder Woman, not just the actor who plays her on TV. So they're obviously planting some small seeds about the Riott Squad being back on television. They're presenting the Riott Squad in small doses here. Whether that means getting a couple of wins over Billie Kay and said tag team partner, whether that is positioning them for the tag team titles in 2021. It's good to see Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan finally getting some, just a little dose of recognition. Too good to not be on TV and be vying for those tag team championships. So we got the Riott Squad against Billie Kay. Kay came out and introduced Tamina Snuka as her tag team partner. I do not believe that I actually had to endure a tag team match where Billie Kay teamed up with Tamina Snuka. And then they want to know why the ratings are in the toilet. Riott Squad wins in 3 minutes. Tamina threw Morgan around. Riott tagged in. Tamina gave her a Samoan drop. Billie tagged in. She wanted a tag in. She wanted to go for the cover off of the Samoan drop. Morgan then tagged in. And she and Riott landed a double team move to take out Billie Kay. And that was it. The Riott Squad wins in 3 minutes. How Billie Kay is the eye or in the eye of all these geeks in the community, I do not know. I do not know. Is it the comedic timing? Is it the accent? It's certainly not the wrestling ability. I don't know why I have to be punished on SmackDown to watch Billie Kay and Tamina, two of the absolute worst wrestlers on the planet, in the ring at the same time, tag teaming together. Unbelievable, man. You want hell on earth. This 3 minutes was hell on earth. That tag team is hell on earth in the industry. Carmella and her sommelier, her butler, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Does he have a name? I don't even know. Who cares? Carmella and her boy toy here, that's not Corey Graves. Dreads is what we'll call him. They were in the ring, and they had a table with bottles of champagne on it. She pranced around the ring, barely wearing anything. Comes out, she does the whole entrance with the dancing and the cloth and the silhouette. People were going crazy on social media. Look at Carmella. She's really reinventing herself. Sure they are. Looks like the Emelina gimmick to me just amped up a little bit. She pranced around the ring. She was singing Deck the Halls and said it's not too early to celebrate. She insulted the viewers at home for sitting on dirty used futons. Honey, my futon is not dirty at all, quite expensive, and these pillows accent it quite nicely. And it's a pull-out. Turns into a bed. So if I want to have a guest over, by all means, sleep in the office. I don't know who she's talking about. She's probably talking about the fucking geeks on social media that want to hide behind avatars that is not their own picture. She said she's better than all of them. She talked up Sasha as being ferocious, but she said mentally, when it counts, she's weak. She talked up Sasha being ferocious. She can be. I hope she is on Sunday when this match happens. She said this is the longest she's held a title, and she's in so far in over her head, she's drowning. She said she's drowning in the pressures of her own expectations. She said she felt her title slipping through her fingers, so she got herself disqualified. She said that's how she knows she's already gotten her beat. She said that's why she can celebrate tonight. She said Bayley is going to lose control, Sasha is going to lose control on Sunday and try to rip her apart. And she'll fall into deep, dark turmoil to the point where she might break. Who is Sasha Banks if she's not the boss? She said it's sad because that's not a question even Sasha knows the answer to. And that's why she comes so unglued around her. She said that's why Banks is so desperate. She said it's all so sad, so she could use a pick-me-up. Dreads comes over and hands her a glass of champagne. She tasted it and says, this tastes cheap and frantic, kind of like Sasha Banks. So Sasha Banks' music played. Dreads jumps out of the ring, stands in the aisle. Sasha comes from the crowd behind the commentary table into the ring, takes a glass of champagne, sips it, pretends like she's having a good time with Carmella, takes the champagne, throws it on Carmella. She brawls with Carmella, locks in the bank statement, middle of the ring. Dreads comes over and yanks Sasha off of Carmella. She gets up. She's like, who the fuck are you laying your hands on me? Slap the ever-living shit out of this guy. Carmella then broke another champagne bottle over Sasha's back, and Michael Cole said it appears Carmella has the advantage going into Sunday, which means, in layman's terms, Sasha Banks is going to retain the SmackDown Women's title. So Carmella has smashed champagne bottles over Sasha Banks' back 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what type of match they're going to have. Maybe it's a champagne match or a little bit of the bubbly match. I don't know. Who gives a shit? The only reason why this match is happening, it's the same reason that Kevin Owens is getting a Universal Championship match. Now, before I get into that reason, which you guys already know, I will say this. Carmella was back for 1 week last week in the ring. I don't give a shit about the gimmick. I want to know how far along she's come as far as an in-ring performer. Because she wasn't that good to begin with. Okay? If she's gotten better in the ring, my criticisms, I'll ease up on them a little bit. The one thing I will say about Carmella, listen, I don't care for the gimmick. I don't like the gimmick. I don't really care about Carmella at all. But at least, it's something as far as a character for Carmella. I honestly feel that what we're seeing now from Carmella is just Carmella amped up. It's Carmella dolled up. It's Carmella amped up from real life Carmella. So I can appreciate that. At least she's trying. And the reason why I think she's doing well in this gimmick, the promo was good. She's gotten a lot better with the promo. She doesn't stutter over her words. She's very direct. She knows what she's talking about. She comes off in a believable way. The reason why she's naturally feeling this way is because this is her. And I always appreciate that from somebody. Do I care about Carmella challenging Sasha Banks? Fuck no. Do I think Carmella is going to win the title on Sunday night? Fuck no. If you are not taking Sasha Banks into WrestleMania with the SmackDown Women's title, what the fuck are you doing watching, or not even watching, writing a wrestling show? Got a fucking sad statement for all those Carmella fans. She ain't winning. She ain't winning. And the only reason why she's in this match is because look at the SmackDown Women's division. WWE went with their tried and true right out of the gate. Bayley and Sasha Banks. That was it. That was their big match. Now Bayley is tied up with Bianca. So remove them from the equation. Who exactly is Sasha Banks supposed to defend that title against? You got Lacey Evans. You got Billie Kay. Ruby Riott could be good, but she's a babyface. Liv Morgan. Lacey Lex Luger Evans, right? Who else is there? Natalya? There really isn't much to choose from as far as different opponents for Sasha Banks. So you might as well get this one out of the way. I'm looking at it as they actually want to invest some time into Carmella, so they're throwing her right into the pit of fire. Maybe she comes out looking better before she went in. Well, she ain't winning the title. Sasha Banks is going to retain that title no matter what. Whether Bayley wins the Royal Rumble and we get Bayley and Sasha again at WrestleMania, or Bianca wins the Royal Rumble and we get Bianca and Sasha at WrestleMania, or a Monday Night Raw superstar wins the Royal Rumble, Charlotte, and Bianca wins the Elimination Chamber, we're going to get Sasha versus somebody at WrestleMania. I would go with Sasha and Bayley, and then I do Bianca at SummerSlam. Just because I think Sasha deserves a long title reign. And SummerSlam seems like the perfect time to take that off of Sasha and give Bianca the crown. But I could be wrong. We may be seeing that at WrestleMania. But Sasha Banks is going to retain that title. Now, Sasha Banks actually was interviewed in regards to an Evolution 2. She said she would rather have an Evolution 2 over a Queen of the Ring, which is, for the dummies out there, King of the Ring for the women. Banks was interviewed by WWE Germany on Instagram Live. During the interview, she was asked about various things. Among them, Banks was also asked to choose between two events to take place in WWE first. Banks had to choose between a King of the Ring tournament or an Evolution 2. After taking some time to think about this question, Banks ultimately went for a second Evolution pay-per-view. She says, and I quote, "I feel like a Queen of the Ring tournament on a whole pay-per-view for itself would be really freaking cool. But I've been waiting for Evolution 2 for a very long time, so maybe we could do that first, and maybe we could start a little bit of the matches for the Queen of the Ring at Evolution. Maybe something like that could happen." Honestly, I don't really see why we need an Evolution 2. I really don't. Why do we need an Evolution 2? The first one wasn't even that good. The first one was not good at all, outside of two matches maybe. Becky, Charlotte, Tony, Io, and that was pretty much it. Everything else was a complete waste of time. Shayna versus Kyrie was good. Three matches, most of which were NXT, and then two top women on the show. But as far as her statement there, I don't see why WWE would even hint at another Evolution 2 when they can't even book their own women's divisions properly. I honestly feel like if I was to choose one or the other, I would choose the Queen of the Ring because I feel like a tournament aspect, and you got more than enough women in the entire company to take part in this, giving everybody their own spotlight. An entire pay-per-view is not going to get the entire division over. It's not. That's just the way I personally see it. It may be in unity, oh, look at the women's division. Well, what exactly are you doing for the women's division leading up to that? And what are you doing for the women's division coming out of that? WWE did the women's evolution unbelievable the first time, but that was because of the presence of Ronda Rousey. She was a direct driving force for that to happen. Without a Ronda Rousey, WWE will not even entertain another Evolution pay-per-view. That's just the simple factual information on that. They won't. Sasha won't be able to do it. Charlotte won't be able to do it. Becky, Bayley, none of them. None of them. WWE is not going to put the trust in any one of those women, even though they're all homegrown, to lead the charge for a second Evolution. There's no money there. There's absolutely no money in any of those names. They ain't drawing a dime on television. They're not a ratings draw on television now. You're going to give an entire pay-per-view led by one of those women or all four of those women? That's not going to draw? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm just looking at the analytics of it. What did WWE do coming out of WrestleMania when Ronda Rousey dropped the title to Becky Lynch? Nothing. All that work for the women's revolution. What did you do? You flushed it down the fucking toilet. You did nothing with the division. Becky went from Ronda to Lacey Evans for 4 months. A Queen of the Ring tournament would get everybody over in an individual spotlight. Just like the Mae Young Classic would do. The Mae Young Classic is one of WWE's best productions. Why? Because you get to see half of the field that you've never seen before in a WWE ring. Imagine a Queen of the Ring tournament that had 32 women in the tournament, and you were able to see women from NXT, women from SmackDown, women from Raw in this tournament. Maybe WWE brought in another woman who wants to sign with the WWE that you never heard of before. 32 women over the course of a month or a month and a half, whatever the case may be. It doesn't even have to be a traditional 32-woman tournament like the Mae Young Classic. They could do a round-robin tournament. Give me 2 blocks of 8 and just rotate the matches and go by a scorecard like the G1 Climax. Whatever the case may be, matches like that are more prone to get wrestlers over than just an entire pay-per-view. That's where you really see the cream rise to the top and who belongs and who doesn't. That's what's really going to build momentum for somebody. Winning. Not putting them under a fucking Evolution 2 umbrella and highlighting an entire division when we know the division shouldn't be highlighted based on the way it's booked. Like shit. I love Sasha to death, but a Queen of the Ring is more needed right now than an Evolution 2 if we want to really highlight women's wrestling. That's just my take on that. Otis with Chad Gable. One-on-one with Shinsuke Nakamura. Remember when Shinsuke Nakamura was the hottest thing in pro wrestling? Remember when he walked out on NXT to that beautiful theme music and he wrestled Sami Zayn? X-Pac and Scott Hall were in the crowd. Dallas takeover. That was one of the best crowds I've ever heard in my entire life. They treated Nakamura like he was there for years. The hottest thing in the industry was Shinsuke Nakamura. Now he's on SmackDown losing to fucking Otis. I would love to know how many years Shinsuke Nakamura has on his WWE deal. I would love to know what the guy's thinking is. I would really love to know why he thinks so low of himself to stay with the WWE. Maybe he truly is winding down the end of his career. I have no idea. But this guy has to hate his fucking job. And he really must love surfing more than he does wrestling. Because from what I understand, he's staying in the United States because he brought his family here and he loves to surf. Meanwhile, this guy's career is as dead as anybody I've ever seen. This guy has won championships on WWE and he has not had anything memorable about him at all. When you think Shinsuke Nakamura, nothing stands out as memorable as to what he did in WWE. An AJ Styles match that never became what it truly should have been at WrestleMania. That's it. He won the Royal Rumble, and that is it. And he's lucky he got that. And after that, goodbye. Otis. I got news on Otis. Apparently, Otis responds to reports saying Vince McMahon wanted him and others to improve their in-ring work. He was interviewed with Fox Sports. And I'm not going to say who he was interviewed by. All you got to think of is an emo fucking pussy haircut clown who interviewed him. Otis said Vince McMahon has been very funny and very cool at the same time during their interactions, and they both love AC/DC. In regards to the report about him and others being told to train at the PC, Otis said this, and I quote, "I think it's always been there. It wasn't like, hey, we were told this and we were told that. The Performance Center is a tool for us to get better. If another big man wants to come up to me and wants to work on stuff, or vice versa, we're always working." So the report was kind of funny at the same time. We're never not working, especially now that we don't have live events and we can't really get our stuff out. It's just bottled inside in a little bottle. Right now, it's like we're not getting that stuff out there, so we'll find more and more ways to get in the ring with each other, which nothing beats a crowd, but that's the one thing I miss to this day is that crowd, man. Feeling that rush from out there, the acceptance. Do you know what I mean? Especially my favorite towns, Milwaukee, good Lord. Yeah, Milwaukee. We're not getting that out so much, but now it's time to get better. It really hasn't been set dates. There hasn't been anything set yet. It's just like when you want to come in, brother, or I'll talk to Braun about something. So me and Braun will do curls for about 30 minutes. Then let's talk about something over here. So it's always been there. I don't know why it came out in a big report gimmick, but yeah, I don't know. That's what Otis said in regards to the reports about trying to improve the in-ring work. Is Otis bullshitting? He doesn't sound like a bullshit artist. But he's part of WWE and he's on Fox Sports, so he could be bullshitting. He could be bullshitting. I don't know what to take of that, but I do think that Vince McMahon and others have looked at Otis and said, well, the guy needs work. Could I look at it as a way of, hey, maybe they do have plans for him and they want him to go back and train because they do have plans for him? Yeah. But I know WWE better than anybody. And I know they're not going to push Otis in a prominent role. I know they're not going to push Keith Lee in a prominent role. Keith Lee was buried on Monday Night Raw. He lost in a handicap match to the two biggest fucking geeks on the entire roster. Miz and Morrison have had handicap matches before, and they lost every single one of them. Every single one of them. Keith Lee was brought up to lose to these two guys. They got nothing in store for Keith Lee. People are trying to mask that situation. Oh, he lost to two WWE superstars the caliber of Miz and Morrison, and Miz is a WrestleMania main event guy and a former WWE champion. What does that have to do with now? The Miz is 40 years old. The Miz is trash. Keith Lee was brought up as the next big thing in WWE, and you want to have him lose to the fucking Miz? The Miz has lost most of his matches this year. People tried to defend that garbage. Now, there are reports that Keith Lee could possibly be a rumored winner of the Royal Rumble. That could still very well be. But I'm not holding my fucking breath on Keith Lee winning the Royal Rumble and main eventing WrestleMania. I look at it from a different way. If they're sending him back down to the Performance Center because they're unhappy the way he is in the ring, I don't think they're looking at that type of guy to main event anything, let alone WrestleMania. Otis could be bullshitting, but Otis, in my honest opinion, I love Otis. I think Otis is great. Otis has potential, but Otis was exposed. Otis was exposed when they broke him away from Tucker Knight. I remember a match with Otis back in NXT. I remember he was in the ring with Tommaso Ciampa, and they gave him a one-on-one match with Tommaso Ciampa a couple years back in NXT, and he looked great. He looked great in that moment against Tommaso Ciampa. That was when Tommaso Ciampa was heel Tommaso Ciampa, right? In the middle of that fucking unbelievable heel run. Otis looked fine then. Where did things go wrong? Vince McMahon now is blaming creative failures on everybody else, is what it boils down to. There's no fans. Fans aren't there to really give their feedback to the WWE management. Nobody really is truly over because you can't really gauge based on the virtual geeks in the Thunderdome doing this. There's no sound. There's no life. Nobody's over. So the fact that Otis and Keith Lee got sent back down to the Performance Center to go train, yeah, it can be looked at in one way, but it could also be looked at as Vince McMahon blaming everybody else for their fuck-ups. Their creative fuck-ups. Why isn't Keith Lee over? Look at the way you fucking booked him. Why doesn't Keith Lee look good? Look at the way you fucking booked him. Why isn't Otis where I expected him to be? Look at the way you fucking booked him. Look at the fucking concept you gave him. Money in the Bank. You ruined it. You ruined it. So that's what Otis said in regards to him being sent down to the Performance Center on Fox Sports. Otis gave Nakamura a Vader bomb in the corner for a win tonight. Gable jumped on the apron. He was about to do the caterpillar. And then Gable said, no. Finish him off. Do the bomb. So Otis dragged Nakamura over to the corner. Went up top. Vader bomb. 1, 2, 3. And Otis beats Nakamura clean. That was it. This is what Nakamura's WWE career has resulted in, folks. Losing to somebody that they sent down to the Performance Center to go retrain because he's not good enough. And I'd love to know what exactly has Otis been learning down there, because from what I've seen tonight, I don't really see much of a difference. In fact, I don't even think the guy could execute a fucking standard body slam the right way. To what I watched. Let me know what you guys think down below. Sami Zayn stood on stage in front of a podium for the Sami Awards. He said in recent years, the Slammies have taken a dive. He said it's been about the highlight of corporate favorites. But that's not what the Sami Awards are about. He said 2020 has been a wild year, so he threw it to a year in review all about himself. Sami announced he was the winner of the Comeback of the Year award. He said Edge had a good comeback, but not as good as me, which I would actually say is factually correct, because Edge, most of the year, was out. And Edge's return has been a fucking failure. So Sami Zayn is probably only in contention with Roman Reigns as Comeback of the Year, but I would say Sami Zayn is right up there, for sure. So, Match of the Year, his match with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles in the ladder match was his Match of the Year. It's definitely going to be a Match of the Year candidate. I don't know if it's Match of the Year, but definitely up there as well. Next came Superstar of the Year. He opened the envelope and he read Big E's name. Now, Big E had come along in a separate segment during the show and kind of fucked with the envelopes a little bit, and he took the Superstar of the Year envelope and wrote his name instead. So Big E came out and he took a award and he gave an acceptance speech. These awards, I kid you not, these Sami Awards, this is exactly what they think of Sami Zayn. Now, I get it's a spoof, and I get that they're not going to spend money on actual awards because there's nothing more than a spoof segment, but their Sami Awards were nothing but a can of soup. Think of Campbell's tomato soup in Stop and Shop. You go down aisle 4 and you see the fucking canned soups, right? A small can of soup. They spray painted this can of soup black, and they took a toy wrestling figure, generic toy wrestling figure, and they spray painted it gold, and then they gorilla glued said action figure on top of the Campbell's soup can that was spray painted black. This was their Sami Awards. I absolutely am dead serious in describing what those awards look like. So, Big E was giving an acceptance speech, and Sami Zayn was shoving Big E away from the podium. Sami said there was a mix-up, and Big E punched him in the gut and threw him through a table and down the ramp. Big E then held the trophy up and slammed it down to the ground. Isn't dented cans about 50% off at the supermarket or something like that? I don't know. Whatever the case may be, looks like we're getting an Intercontinental title match at the pay-per-view on Sunday. Bianca Belair versus Bayley. This was the only highlight of the show for me outside of Roman Reigns. This match went 10 minutes. And Bayley was in control. Bianca made a babyface comeback, went for a top rope move. I don't know exactly what she was going for. Could have been anything. Belair is great off the top. Very athletic. Bayley popped up, knocked her off balance. Then she set up a suplex. Belair countered into her own suplex. Bayley ducked and dropped Belair face first onto the top turnbuckle. She then gave her a spine buster for a near fall. Bayley then raked Bianca's eyes in the closing sequence of the match and finished her off and got the 1, 2, 3. I wasn't sure if there was an eye rake for sure because it came so fast that you missed it live. But when they showed the replay, Corey Graves said, Michael Cole is coming up with his own agenda. I didn't see anything like that happen. Then we seen the replay, and Belair clearly went for her eyes and was holding her eyes because Bayley did something and got the finishing move on Belair, and she pinned Belair 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. First of all, Bayley is great. Bayley's one of my favorite things on this show. I think she, in her role, is fucking fantastic, man. She's got the look down. Everything is just going with Bayley. I would not count her out from winning the Royal Rumble. I would absolutely not count her out. I think she's actually my favorite to win the Royal. If I was to choose one person to win the Royal Rumble, I'm going with Bayley. At number 1 or number 2, whichever you want to put Bayley in the Royal Rumble. Bayley versus Sasha, to me, there just seems to be unfinished business there. I was pitching for Sasha to win the Royal Rumble if they wanted to have Bayley win the Hell in a Cell match. Now the tides have turned. I think Bayley winning the Royal Rumble and us getting that one final match at WrestleMania, giving those women something to really look back on, because that's what they want, is the right way to go. Save Belair for SummerSlam. Belair ain't going in. How old is she? 23? Where's she going? Why do we got to do that match now? That match could happen at any WrestleMania for the next 15 years if you want. Why do you got to do it now? Very interesting situation here. Was I upset that Bayley got the win over Belair? It's tough to say. I was kind of indifferent about it. Do I think Belair should have been undefeated going into a match with anybody at a major pay-per-view? Absolutely. But I do think that WWE is going to look at Bianca Belair and not really keep her down because she lost to Bayley here. You can't have Bayley lose every match that she's in that's of importance because she's not the SmackDown Women's Champion anymore. She's got to get some wins. She's got to get some wins underneath her. She can't look like a complete fucking doofus. I'm not looking at this in a detrimental way. Normally, you guys would come on here and expect me to shit on this. I'm not. I'm not happy that she's not undefeated, but I'm also not upset that Bayley got the win. It seems to me that Bianca is being put in this babyface, underdog type of role. And yeah, she hypes up that she's the EST and Bayley cheated And Bianca knows that Bayley cheated. Bianca knows that she's better than Bayley. So they're putting her in that babyface underdog role. But as long as she gets that win back over Bayley and asserts dominance in the women's division, I want to see Bianca, who knows she's better than everybody else, introduce herself to Sasha. I don't want any underdog type of situation. I don't want that. It might be fine for now, but I want somebody who knows she's just as good, if not better, when that time comes, than Sasha Banks. That's all I want. I don't want this, oh, she's got to be an underdog babyface and she's got to fight from behind and yada, yada, yada. No. Everybody needs to be over. Everybody needs to be at the same level, okay? Enough of this fucking babyface fighting from behind because the heel did a dastardly thing. Bianca should be where Bayley is at this point. And what the fuck we're waiting for? So Bianca loses in 10 minutes. I'm not looking at it as a detriment or negative like you guys expected me to. We'll wait and see. Because clearly this is not over yet. Roman Reigns came out. Reigns talking about Kevin Owens going into the pay-per-view on Sunday night. He said for the life of him, he's been trying to understand why, if you had the opportunity to be in the ring with him and be on the island of relevancy and in the main event of a pay-per-view and in a championship match with Reigns, why would you blow it? He said it's an opportunity that your kids would be talking about. He talked about the paydays. Kevin Owens' music played and interrupted Reigns. Owens limped out after all the attacks tonight. Uso charged at Owens. Owens bashed him with a chair. Reigns stood his ground in the ring, but Owens attacked him. Uso caught him with a super kick to block the stunner. Reigns speared him. Reigns bashed Owens with a chair and then slammed him through a table. He continued to beat on Kevin Owens and then piled tables, chairs, and ladders onto him. And then Reigns led Heyman and Uso to the back. When Reigns and Uso and Heyman got backstage, Kayla was about to interview them when Uso noticed Owens was getting out from under the pile. He tapped on Reigns' shoulders. They saw KO get up and then walked away. Owens sat up on a chair and said nothing Reigns can do will keep him down on Sunday. He said he will win the Universal title on Sunday or he will die trying. His music played to end the show. Very basic, very standard TLC go-home angle. I like the closing segment of Kevin Owens saying that he will do anything and die trying at taking that Universal title. So we can expect Kevin Owens, if Kevin Owens is willing to jump off a fucking WrestleMania logo onto Seth Rollins in a non-title match at WrestleMania in front of an empty PC, Kevin Owens is going to go out of his way to fucking give us a show on Sunday night. That much is for certain. They have to sell this pay-per-view. I know a lot of you guys were saying, oh, JD, it's forced. The closing segment was forced. Kevin Owens looks like he is unstoppable. The baby faces usually stand tall. In this segment means that they're going to lose. Or Reigns, whatever Reigns did here, he tried to take out Owens before the pay-per-view. Does that mean is Kevin Owens going to win the match on Sunday? No. Now, they got to make it believable that Owens isn't going to be a fucking pushover. They got to make it believable to some extent that Owens just isn't another name to plug into Roman Reigns' book before they move him on to Goldberg or whoever he's fighting at WrestleMania. This was standard TLC shtick. Nothing new, nothing out of the ordinary here. And I like the way Kevin Owens was presented. He's a tough motherfucker. And he's going to do whatever it takes. And he's not going to let Roman Reigns keep him down. Simple. Simple. The stuff has been good. It's just not in a situation where I'm watching this show and I think, oh, Roman Reigns is in danger. Roman Reigns is losing that championship. No, Roman Reigns is not losing that championship at all. I won't even have him lose at WrestleMania. If they are not getting Dwayne, why are we taking the title off of Roman Reigns? If they do Bryan versus Roman, I'm not advocating for Bryan to take the title off of Roman. I'm advocating for Roman to keep the championship. I just want the story. Whether it's Big E or somebody else or whoever else they got in the pipeline to take the title off of Roman, have him hold it for the majority of 2021. If there is nobody better than Roman, why are you thinking of taking the title off of Roman? If Roman is the best, then he should be champion. It's very simple. I don't see any discrepancy there. As soon as somebody comes along that's better than Roman, then we can start talking about taking the title off of Roman. Until then, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. And I don't think Fox would be very happy if Roman is not champion. Their numbers have been quite solid for SmackDown standards. That's your SmackDown episode. Quick TLC predictions here, folks. I did talk about Roman and Kevin Owens extensively here. Roman ain't losing that championship. I did talk about Sasha and Carmella. Sasha's not losing that championship. Let's talk about the other matches on the pay-per-view Sunday night. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and mystery partner to be announced. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to be Eva Marie. It's going to be Eva Marie. Folks, let me tell you something. If you are Asuka, why on this fucking planet would you go out there and enlist Eva Marie to be your tag team partner? If you want to lose the match, then by all means, go and get Eva Marie as your tag team partner. Eva Marie's not going to be Asuka's partner. Eva Marie, more than likely, will be the woman that Angel Garza has been given the rose, the red rose, to on Monday night. Seen some other people on social media say, oh, it's going to be Tessa Blanchard. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're not going to introduce Tessa Blanchard at the fucking TLC pay-per-view. If anything, either A, the Royal Rumble, or B, NXT, which to me is the right move to make because she's only 24 years old. Where is she going? Asuka's partner is going to be Charlotte. It's either A, going to be Charlotte, or B, Adam Pearce is going to come along and say, well, Asuka can't find a tag team partner. I'm going to insert Mandy and Dana into this situation, and they're going to win the tag team titles. Charlotte, if Asuka is still going to wrestle on the pay-per-view, it's going to be Charlotte Flair, okay? Now, I have a problem with WWE's logic here. WWE's payoff for Lana was for her to pin Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler in 3 separate weeks on Monday Night Raw. And then their payoff is to injure Lana and then take her out of the pay-per-view match altogether. That's their payoff for Lana. So they did all this. They did the 9 tables and the come-from-behind story. They pinned Shayna fucking Baszler on Monday Night Raw. And the ultimate payoff was Lana being injured and removed from the TLC pay-per-view. That's their grand fucking plan. Charlotte, the last time we seen her on television, was being injured. She was taken off television by Nia Jax. I would not be surprised if WWE plays into that situation. Charlotte comes back. She gets the revenge on Nia Jax. She wins the tag team titles with Asuka. And I'm sitting here thinking, Charlotte is grinding her fucking teeth. Charlotte is so fucking upset that she's not in a priority role. Becky overshadowed her all year with the Raw Women's title and then having a baby. Sasha and Bayley overshadowed her. Charlotte right now is the least talked about 4-horsewoman. Charlotte comes back to TV and immediately is going to be given another WWE worthless championship because Charlotte cannot breathe. She needs air like she needs titles. Or she needs titles like she needs fucking air to breathe and water to drink to survive. That's Charlotte Flair in a nutshell. She comes back, immediately is going to be given a championship. She's going to be thrusted into the same storyline that made Sasha and Bayley the hottest act in all of WWE. She's going to have a tag team title with her arch nemesis. They're going to do the I hate you, but we're tag team champions angle. And they're going to lose the championships. And then Charlotte is automatically going to go into a feud with Asuka and win the Raw Women's Championship. So realistically, the way I see it is Charlotte is going to come back to TV and be in championship situations after being out for 7 months. Only happens to Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is a greedy bitch. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. Her character sucks. It's fucking outdated. All you are is a female version of what made your father famous. And you're not even half as fucking talented. She comes back to TV and it's automatically thrusted into these title programs. This is the same woman, by the way, who was never planned to win the Royal Rumble. It was a late-minute decision. Shayna Baszler was supposed to win the Royal Rumble, but Charlotte Flair could not see herself being eliminated by Shayna Baszler in the Royal Rumble, so she had to win that. So then they gave her the Royal Rumble, and WWE couldn't put her in the Raw Women's Championship title picture. They couldn't put her in the SmackDown Women's Championship picture because both of those situations would have been major repeats. There's nothing new for her to do there. So she set her eyes on NXT, and she challenged Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, in a normal situation, if someone like Charlotte's going down to NXT, you would expect her to enhance the brand and enhance the talent. That was not done. She didn't enhance anybody. She didn't enhance Bianca Belair, who was automatically a part of this program because by the time she got down there, it was Bianca and Rhea. Charlotte just interjected herself into that situation and made nobody better. Bianca didn't look good for it. NXT didn't look good for it. The NXT Women's Championship didn't look good for it. And Rhea Ripley didn't look good for it. So why exactly was she there? And then we get to WrestleMania where Charlotte buries Rhea Ripley. And then it just recently came out that Rhea Ripley was supposed to win that match, but NXT plans were ignored by main roster executives because Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley was actually supposed to beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Main roster said, no. Charlotte Flair's going to win the NXT Women's Championship. And then NXT had to go by what main roster wanted to do with their fucking champion. Charlotte gets down there. She makes the division worse. She enhances nobody. And then when she loses the championship, it wasn't Rhea who got her win back. It was Io who took the title. And guess who Io pinned? Was it Rhea or was it Charlotte? Was Io pinning Charlotte to give you guys the perception of Charlotte helping putting somebody over? Of course not. Of course not. Io pinned Rhea, further burying Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has yet to recover from that loss to Charlotte. And she will never recover from that until she takes a championship from Charlotte Flair. That may be where they're going because Rhea Ripley could be on the main roster after the new year. And we could see a rematch at WrestleMania. We could see Charlotte take the title from Asuka at the Royal Rumble and Rhea Ripley win the fucking Royal Rumble and challenge Charlotte at WrestleMania taking the Raw Women's title from Charlotte Flair for all we fucking know. Will that help Rhea Ripley? A little bit. But you buried this woman all year. You buried this woman all year to a point where she comes out and I feel nothing. When she won the title from Shayna Baszler last year, this time last year, she was everything. Now she feels nothing. So what good, I ask you, is Charlotte Flair back on the main roster? This women's division and this show on Monday night is going to get worse. It's going to be worse with Charlotte Flair there back. Wait till you hear that fucking music. Wait. Charlotte comes back, teams with Asuka. They win the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. The New Day versus the Hurt Business. I don't even know why we're here talking about this. The Hurt Business have looked like geeks the entire time. I just don't see how the New Day win this match. If the New Day win this match, just think about this. If the New Day wins this match, how could you go and justify the Hurt Business getting yet another tag team title match? It's over. I would have loved for this to be over 3 weeks ago. But here we are. And with the introduction of Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy now being teased as a tag team, that is more likely the scenario against the Hurt Business than it is against the New Day. So I see the New Day losing the tag team titles here to the Hurt Business, and we get the New Day doing God knows what, because there's no tag teams on this fucking show for them to feud with outside of the tag team championship program. I don't know what they do. Maybe they take the rest of the year off. Maybe they come back at the Royal Rumble. I don't know. But we're going to get Matt Riddle versus Bobby Lashley at some point. And we're going to get Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy teaming up against the Hurt Business for the tag team titles because WWE has nobody else in the tag team division on Monday night. None. Another makeshift tag team. But how do they lose and then justify yet another rematch? We've already had rematch after rematch after rematch. And now we're at a point where the New Day has lost singles matches to the Hurt Business because there's no other tag teams for them to lose to. Hurt Business wins, and they win the tag team titles. Very simple. Very, very simple. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. This is a TLC match. To me, this is a WrestleMania match that they're giving away on a D-level pay-per-view. And the only reason why this is happening is because, again, there is nobody, and there has been nobody, outside of Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Can't do The Fiend. You put The Fiend in any situation like a match with Drew McIntyre, it's automatically a loss. I do not see Drew McIntyre being the champion for 6 months, dropping the title to Randy Orton, who never defended the title, only to drop it back to Drew McIntyre. I don't see them taking the title off of Drew McIntyre after they just gave it back to him. Why would you take the title off of Drew McIntyre now and put it on AJ Styles? The entire feud that you've been planting seeds for has been for McIntyre against Sheamus. Why would they be feuding if the championship isn't on the line? The one line that The Miz said to Sheamus was that, let's talk about you and your championship resume. You've held the championship for 2 weeks, and your championship resume compared to mine is a failure, singles-wise. Clearly, that's going to resonate with Sheamus and turn him full heel. He was a heel. Now he's an in-betweener. He's going to go back to being heel to feud with Drew McIntyre. Why would you take the title off of him when the sole purpose of McIntyre Sheamus is for the WWE Championship? Why else would you be feuding them together? That's where they're going with this. Whether that happens at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania remains to be seen. McIntyre and Sheamus more than likely will be the match at Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre, I have no idea what he does at WrestleMania. For all we know, John Cena can come back and challenge Drew McIntyre for big number 17. Being that WWE wants fans, they want WrestleMania to be in Tampa, and John Cena coming back to challenge Drew McIntyre for number 17, it would be almost as if he's chasing number 17, but also at the same time would be passing the torch to Drew McIntyre, who WWE is very big on right now. I could see it. But this AJ Styles match looks like a WrestleMania match that's not happening at WrestleMania, and AJ Styles is only being used in this situation because that's all they have right now at the top of the card. Everybody else just doesn't seem to be it right now. Randy Orton can't do it again. Bray Wyatt Doesn't make sense because you can't have him buried again in a championship situation. That's a lose-lose situation for Bray Wyatt. Matt Riddle ain't ready. Keith Lee, he's been buried. Jeff Hardy, nobody makes sense. AJ Styles was the only one. Plus, he's a great utility guy. You can slot AJ Styles into any role, and he's going to make it feel important. That's how big AJ Styles is. Drew McIntyre is going to win this match and retain the WWE Championship. Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. They announced this as being a Firefly Inferno match. Whatever the fucking Inferno match, Firefly Inferno match is, remains to be seen. They didn't give us any rules on this situation at all yet. Is it a standard Inferno match? How many Inferno matches has WWE had in their history? 6 or 7? If I'm not mistaken. If it's a regular Inferno match, like I think of an Inferno match, and there's fire surrounding the ring, and we get a legitimate wrestling match with fire, I would assume Randy Orton wins that match. Just based on what Randy Orton wears to the ring. I mean, he could wear a jumpsuit. He could wrestle in a jumpsuit, but I don't know why he would. Just based on Randy Orton's attire, I would see, if that is the traditional way to go about it, Bray Wyatt more than likely losing. Maybe catching his leg on fire or something like that. But normally the Inferno matches were used to keep people out of the ring. That's what the matches were intended for. I don't see who is going to be interjecting themselves into this Bray Wyatt-Randy Orton situation. Now, it could be a standard Inferno match. Again, we don't have the rules on this situation. But WWE could also go in the way of a cinematic match. We could see a cinematic Firefly Inferno match where they're in a setting and maybe they have a ring in the woods somewhere outside by the Wyatt family compound and it's cinematic. Maybe there's a whole fucking ringside setup in the woods somewhere and they got it just squared off with fire. Not the ring itself and not the metal beams that they usually attach to the ring where fire usually kind of explodes, like the old school matches with Kane and The Undertaker. Maybe it's more of an outdoor setting where there's a ring and there's nothing but like rings of fire around the ring. I don't know. Could be a cinematic match of some sort. Again, we don't know what the rules are or what the match setting is going to be. They want to keep you surprised so that you tune into the pay-per-view. That's the reason why they haven't announced anything. Could be a cinematic match. Could be a regular match. I'm going with the cinematic route. If it's the cinematic route, I could see Bray Wyatt getting his victory back over Randy Orton. I just feel like WWE thinks Randy Orton is, right now, kind of untouchable. He loses. So what? Because they already got him penciled in against Edge at WrestleMania. It is what it is. Randy's just going through the motions right now after winning the WWE title for absolutely no reason. Who needs to win more? Does Randy Orton need to win more? Or does Bray Wyatt need to win more? I see Bray Wyatt getting the victory here if it is a cinematic setting. If it's a standard Inferno match, like I remember the Undertaker Kane Inferno match as being, I'm going with Randy Orton. So we'll see what happens on Sunday night. If it's a standard Inferno match, I am not excited about it. Just based on these two histories, the story is there, but the in-ring action sucks. Their match at WrestleMania was fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. A match, by the way, that should have included Luke Harper. He would have made the match better, and I would have advocated for Luke Harper to win the WWE title just based on his performance in that entire angle. Randy Orton was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He acted all innocent. He acted like he was a part of the family, but Luke Harper always knew Bray Wyatt was blind to the fact it was a great storyline. That's where SmackDown went downhill. Then Randy Orton won the WWE title. Then they ruined SmackDown by giving you-know-who the WWE Championship because it was different. And SmackDown was dead at that point. And I think that is most of the show, right? Yeah, that's all the show. That's all there is on the show. Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Sasha Banks-Carmella, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, New Day versus Hurt Business, and Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Asuka, and to be announced. Charlotte. Do we get Sami Zayn Big E? I don't know. Like I said, if it's not on Sunday, I definitely see SmackDown being on Christmas. I definitely see Big E and Sami Zayn for the IC title on a taped Christmas episode of SmackDown with Big E winning the championship, sending everybody home merry for the holidays. That's my prediction there. But 6 matches, we'll be home early on Sunday night. I'll be live on YouTube. Make sure you guys join me for the post show at TLC. Guys, I am about to get out of here, man. We got some super chats to go over. And I thank you guys for spending your Friday night with me here on the podcast, man. If you enjoyed the show, please leave me a thumbs up, man. 600 likes was the goal. We're almost there, man. We are 34 away from 600 likes. So let's do that. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. And I'll see you guys back on Off the Script tomorrow. Episode 356, 5 p.m. Uploaded to YouTube. And then again, I'll see you guys on Sunday night for the post show right here on Off the Script for TLC 2020. If you guys want to hang out, I'd love to have you. As usual, we're going to go over the super chats at the end of the show here tonight. Charlie G with a $5 super chat. Do you think that Vince wants to kill the company before he dies because he doesn't want his son-in-law, Triple H, or anyone else to surpass his legacy? Bro, this is something I've mentioned. This is something I have mentioned several times. And I would not be surprised at that situation, man. I really wouldn't. They killed NXT, and they're teaching everybody in NXT a lesson. Listen, I don't even want to get into it. I talked about it on the show tomorrow, man. I dove into everything on tomorrow's show. So your question will be directly answered tomorrow, man. But the gist of it is, they thought putting NXT against AEW was the right thing, but all they did was purposely kill NXT. Every talent that they called up from NXT that had future of WWE written all over them, they killed that talent because of your reason. Triple H does it better than Vince McMahon and his team. Almost as if they're getting back at everything happening down there because it's not something that they had a hand in. Sounds very conspiracy-ish, but I would not be shocked, man. There's some internal politics that would shock you, I know, in WWE. Jose Charles with a $2 super chat. I think Goldberg sees himself greater than he is. Of course he does. Of course he does. He ain't good. He thinks he's good, but he's not. And he's a fucking dick. Just based on what he did in February for Saudi Arabia, WWE, and The Fiend. He should be better than that, and he's not. Bro with glasses with a $5 super chat. Would you rather spend 24 hours in the desert with nothing to drink but Coors Light, or spend 24 hours watching Monday Night Raw 2020 reruns? Give me Monday Night. I'll make you a trade. Give me Monday Night Raw 2020 reruns with Coors Light. Who the fuck wants to be in a desert, bro? What, so I get bitten by a scorpion and then I'm poisoned to death and then you got no IWC Messiah? Come on. Dan Hacker with a $4.99 super chat. The attention span of the average WWE fan is why Big E's alleged push is going to be as bad as Kofi's. Of course it is. Everybody wants Big E. What I'm looking forward to is how quick they turn on Big E and how Big E is boring to them. And with Big E winning the title, it's always going to come with that Kofi-esque feel because WWE has done nothing to showcase Big E as different. Not yet, anyway, and I'm not holding my breath. The Dud with a $5 super chat. Who would win between Roman and Omega? And also, SmackDown at TLC equals boring. I don't know who would win, bro, but right now they're at the top of their individual games, for sure. Bayley is greater than Baker, and Sephiroth is in Smash. HTX Messiah with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He leaves no comment, but he leaves a $20 super chat. I appreciate you, man. JD23. Sasha and Roman are in similar positions as far as challenges, with Bryan and Bianca potentially being their best feuds. For Sasha, maybe Bayley again. Bayley wins the Rumble. Bayley versus Sasha at WrestleMania. We continue that feud, which WWE kind of blew through because of said Hell in a Cell gimmick. And then Sasha beats Bayley at WrestleMania, giving them the match that they've always wanted. And then Sasha retains and moves on to Bianca. End of story. Very simple. Batman 1989 Forever with a 99-cent super chat. He leaves a sleepy face emoji, signifying that SmackDown put him to sleep. Edgar Estrada. Yo, bro. Sorry for the boredom. Struck again. Man, can we get Drew McIntyre to talk less and Claymore Oldberg's head off? So sick of hearing that egomaniac's whining. Hope you have a great weekend. Love ya. OTS for life. Thank you so much, Edgar. Hopefully the snow didn't kill you in the Bronx there, brother. Hollywood Guy, $5 super chat. I think Asuka's partner might be Ronda Rousey. Same thing that I mentioned about Tessa. Why would you introduce Ronda Rousey in a match not called Royal Rumble? Laura Conway, $2.99. I got my dad Harry's for Christmas. I hope he likes it. Laura, he's gonna love it. He is going to love it, man. Believe me. We got Cesar Enrique. Any favorite burger joint is his question. I don't really have a favorite burger joint, man, but I will say this. If you guys are familiar with Yard House, Yard House has some great fucking burgers, man. You know what my favorite burger joint is? My kitchen, because I make one hell of a fucking hamburger. I make one hell of a goddamn cheeseburger, man. That's it for the super chats, guys. I'm seeing you guys in the chat. JD didn't see that Ryback was here. It wasn't Ryback. It wasn't Ryback. Ryback knows better not to show his face here. It was a troll account. Just like some of the other troll accounts that I had to ban, like my penis is an earring was banned. And some other geeks that I'm not going to mention here. This was not Ryback's actual YouTube account. I'd be shocked if it was. Ryback TV says, I'm going to sue you. Sue me. Sue me. The Yard House in Vegas. I've been to that one, man. Double or Nothing weekend. I was right there. Could have had a better beer menu. A lot of locals, but it is what it is. Guys, I'm getting out of here, man. Hopefully enjoyed the review tonight. Had a great time tonight. Really in-depth stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications, man. Hit that subscribe button. I can't tell you enough, man. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. Twitter and Instagram. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Go and sign up for the Patreon, man. The best way to support the show is Patreon. Go get yourself one of those mugs, man. Awesome stuff. They're going fast. Mouthmasker.com/OTS for your masks. Bonfire.com for your t-shirts. Go check the description for all the videos and the playlists that you might miss on the channel. If you missed Monday Night Raw, it's there. If you missed AEW Dynamite, it's there. Go and check it out. I'll see you guys live on Sunday night for the TLC post show right here on Off the Script. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. for OTS 356, man. It's another banger of an episode. Normally, I'd say I'm getting in the Mustang, but my Mustang is still stuck in its same parking spot because of the snow on the East Coast. So I'm taking my beverage, and right here, I'm cranking up the volume, man. Pilot's about to come on. Let me see those guitar emojis in the chat, and I'll see you guys right back here for Off the Script on Saturday and TLC on Sunday, guys. See you later.
From me to you, go fuck yourself.